What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of this.
Dr. Death.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of.
Starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Saving starts with internet and wireless from Xfinity. Because when you get Xfinity Internet and add mobile, you can save up to $400 a year on wireless. Enjoy fast, reliable internet at home and nationwide 5G on the go, included at no extra cost. Get Xfinity Internet and mobile together and ask how to get an eligible 5G phone on us. And for a limited time, $300 back. Don't miss out. Go to Xfinity.com/start saving. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Savings based on optimized pricing. Actual savings may vary.
Wrestling Geeks Alliance. Vibes Nation.
It's a day for one in the ages. If you're thinking about the stock that's going into the superstars at the WWE, that is crashing. And I don't know anymore what to do about what's going on with NXT and WWE. Hello, my name is Dane Alves, and I and my co-host Christopher Brother Ray Patton will be talking about the crashing that is NXT, the fucking drowning that was 205 Live, and what the hell is going on with WWE. On this episode of Wrestling Geeks Alliance, You're Fired edition. Chris, you're here with me.
Yeah, luckily I have not been released by Wrestling Geeks Alliance or Geek Vibes Nation, so I'm here today.
You're fired, by the way. This is your last episode. Clock out and go home.
Damn it. You want me to sign a contract extension until after SummerSlam?
Sure. We'll do that. I could use you
Okay.
for that episode. Oh, man. I mean, honestly, I know that was a little bit dramatic. I was trying to go for, like, one of those, like, stock, fucking television shows. Stock market shows, I guess you could say. But, Chris, what the fuck is going on, man?
It's on fire. The world's on fire, dude. Fuck it, we'll do it live, I guess. I don't know what's happening over there.
It's like there's these islands and they're middle of the ocean and Pangea's fucking happening and they're being brought together as opposed to away from each other. But this one big island seems to be sinking on certain parts. Like it's crazy.
This is what happens when Nas puts out a new album. The whole world burns.
Dude, just listen to some Nas, man.
That
makes me want to debate something though. Would you say Nas, pound for pound, best lyricist in hip hop? At least one of them.
Today or in like of all time?
Of all time.
What? I mean, he's got to be up there. I mean, I'm gonna be a little biased on this because he has 2 of my favorite rap albums of all time. But I would say so, man. Like Illmatic,
yeah,
Stillmatic, pretty fucking great. I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for Outkast, as you know, and I think Bone Thugs and Harmony is really underrated in DMX. But I would definitely, like, if you're doing the top 10 and Nas isn't on it, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life.
Yeah, you're fucking up, man. He was a poet, I feel, or he still is. I just think that he's intelligent. He went from being like, here's the streets and the best perspective and ways for me to explain it to you of what's going on. And then went and became kind of like the John Lennon, if you will, of hip hop, just being very deep and intelligent. If I Ruled the World with Lauryn Hill, that was, I feel, and someone might think I'm crazy, that is my generation's Imagine. To me,
you're gonna really fucking love this new track he did with Lauryn Hill, where she spits some bars. It's good. It's a good
Lauryn
ass
Hill
album.
can fucking spit bars, man. She's got a great voice too.
It's a I mean, the thing that I appreciate about Nas is not only the lyrical content, but the way he delivers it. He doesn't need a hard beat or anything. And this album is kind of what I would consider a return to form.
Did he get Premiere to do any beats for it?
I don't know for sure, but it is very much like in the style of Illmatic as far as how the beats sound. I mean, they sound like early 90s East Coast beats. So I think you're really going to fucking dig it. Like even the track like EPMD2, which is a remix of like a song from his last album that has Eminem on it. It still has like that kind of beat on it. So I think you're really going to fucking dig it. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like greatest lyricists, he's up there. I mean, you could make the debate of like Pac and Biggie and Pun. There's a lot of people you could throw out there, but
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's he's one of my favorites for sure. I would definitely, like I said, I would, if you don't have him in the top 10, I don't know what the fuck you're doing with your life.
If you don't have him in the top 10, you've obviously never listened to Illmatic. And if you haven't listened to Illmatic, you really haven't lived. I'll just end the conversation because it's obviously not about hip hop, but we always bring it in here. Nas is hip hop. He is someone, when I think of a hip hop artist, I think of Nas. It would be the same vein of like Mos Def, Common, et cetera, et cetera. And what I always mean, the difference between rap and hip hop is integrity. Rap can be fun. You can be a hip hop artist and do rap, but it's way harder to be a rap artist and make good hip hop. Does that make sense? There's more soul in hip hop and intelligence usually.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, especially if you're talking about some of the later rap artists from more of our generation, like let's say like a 2 Chainz or a Lil Wayne, or to some extent like a Kanye of sorts. That's very different than like you said, like Mos Def or Nas or even Wu-Tang Clan. It's a lot different.
I'll even put J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator more in a hip hop stance because they're more creative and, you know, will think outside the box as opposed to just, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it making you want to get on the dance floor and shake your ass basically. Or be that creepy guy that watches all the girls shake their ass.
Yeah, me and you are a little opposite on that because I like some of the new, like I have no problem with like 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne and such, where you have a more of a harder stance against that. So I think hip hop's what you want it to be, but I get what you're saying. Like as far as you could do the same thing with rock music, right? Like there was a time period where it's complete art versus like, hey, this is cock rock.
Even the 80s, man, when you went from like all the people like the Talking Heads and Joy Division, and then that kind of circled into your hair metal that kind of consumed that era, you know, just very different styles. And anyways, this is we need to do a music podcast, I guess is what it comes down to, Chris, because we could, both musicians, both love lots of different music, both have pretty good and strong opinions like we do with wrestling. And if you're a new listener, get ready because here we come. Because this is how we talk about wrestling. So good preview, I think.
Yeah, we had to provide some levity before we get into the shit show that is currently WWE, right? Yeah,
it actually, in all actuality, before we even talk about that, something that I really didn't want to talk about, the passing of beautiful Bobby Eaton. Hate to bring the show down, but it seems like it happens on a weekly basis. I have to say, and this is something that I learned personally, that if you didn't get a chance to see Bobby Eaton, either as a member of the Midnight Express, either with Dennis Condrey or later Stan Lane, which he's probably more known for, with Jim Cornette as their manager, as heels in the late 80s, as baby faces, always having usually the North American Tag Team Championships, but, you know, multiple tag champs between multiple platforms in Memphis and obviously in the NWA, but also by himself. I mean, this man, Steve Austin uses the term mechanic, you know, as a way to describe of how he used to be a great technical wrestler before he got injured. And one of the people that I hear so many people talk about is Bobby Eaton, how he did everything flawlessly, how everything was very much what you would want in a wrestler. And he was very giving. He had no problem putting someone over. Obviously, he played heel for a good portion of the time, but he didn't die out, but he just definitely, his popularity kind of went down Brad Armstrong's another good example, but I would say more so with Bobby Eaton, where he teamed with Steven Regal, and he did that thing and kind of fizzled out of WCW altogether. Retired rather early, but I mean, it's a huge compliment, I would think, when someone is compared to Bobby Eaton. I've heard Jim Cornette say that about Christian, how he doesn't do anything too fucking fancy or crazy, but what he does do, he's a good compliment to the person that he's facing in the ring. And this sucks. There's no way of getting around it. I mean, he died, I think he was 62 years old. Just tragic. I believe his wife had recently passed. I don't know, man. It sucks. I know that he was beloved by the industry. He helped a lot of smaller guys, including Steve Austin at the time, try to get them to next level. And if you want to see one of the best and most underrated factions of all time, Dangerous Alliance, there's a great, what's it called? Those cage matches, War Games. But I mean, you got Rick Rude, Bobby Eaton, Michael P.S. Hayes, a young Steve Austin, Arn Anderson, Larry Sabisco, and of course, Paul Heyman as the manager. I mean, some of the best heels of all time. And Bobby tagged actually with Arn Anderson during that time period because Tully was gone from WCW. So when they came back to WCW, or I should say Arn did, but they didn't want Tully back. So, I mean, this guy could be a great tag wrestler. That's what he was known for. Back then, there was no difference between being the tag champions, really. I mean, there was, but besides the WWE, NWA was very prestigious to be tag champs, and that's where he excelled at. And it just sucks that he tragically passed away. Chris, you probably would have, been more involved in seeing him in his early days live, probably because you were, growing up on WCW while I was up north watching the shit go down at Madison Square Garden.
So I definitely grew up watching the tapes of Jim Crockett Promotions and WCW of the time period of, let's say, the mid 80s, right? Because he was there from like 83 to, I want to say, until Bischoff took over. He could have been there even longer. Like I'm gonna give it a round number of like 84, 85 to 90. Let's go 93. We'll go with that number. But most of that, like I was born in 88, so a lot of the stuff I watched was retrospective and renting from your local video store, etc. But Midnight Express, is there anyone that doesn't consider them the greatest heel tag team of all time? I would say there's very few.
And then I don't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, I gotta say, man. And Dennis Condrey was great, but when I think Midnight Express, I think Stan Lane, Bobby Eaton, and I would put them easily in the top 5 tag teams of all time.
Yeah, and I think more of, to me, it's Stan Lane and Eaton for me, because I've seen the most of that. But if you go back to their feud with the Road Warriors, that was obviously Dennis Condrey. But both, like, all of those guys were great, and Cornette as manager's like the perfect mouthpiece. And I guess on Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez is like, if you want to see some good fucking work, like wrestling work, watch Bobby Eaton on, like, one of those shitty shows where he's just wrestling a jobber and trying to drag a good match out of him. I think that kind of sums up how good Bobby Eaton is, but absolutely phenomenal. It's a sad passing. I mean, he was only 62. I know that he had some heart problems, I guess, a couple months ago, and fell and hurt his hip, and I guess seemingly didn't recover in the way that they thought he might. But I definitely know what you're talking about with him and Paulie Dangerously, and some of how that feud spun off. There's a bunch of good stuff there, man. Like obviously the feuds with like the Freebirds and Arn and Tully,
rock and roll.
Rock and Roll Express and the Road Warriors are going to be the thing that most people would think of when you think the Midnight Express. But yeah, shout out to his friends and family. And this sucks. This one to me is very tragic because, like I said, when you talk about best tag teams of all time, if you really think about it, most of them are baby faces. Midnight Express might be kind of the exception to that rule.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know. I had some more stuff to say, but this one sucks. And especially, I am a avid Cornette listener, and he obviously talks highly about Bobby because, Bobby was well liked in the industry, and he was someone that people would say, was a guy to watch if you wanted to learn to become a good wrestler. A lot of wrestlers praise him for help, whether it be someone like a Steve Austin to a Mick Foley, and Mick, and also his good friend Ricky Morton from Rock and Roll Express. Both post links to help out with funeral costs. So if you got a couple bucks, if you don't, completely understandable. But if you got a couple bucks, there is a GoFundMe right now to help with his funeral expenses for his family. And yes, tragically, I think it was a month after his wife passed, Bobby joined her. So maybe that's how it's supposed to be. But I would definitely, you are missing out if you've never seen Bobby Eaton in the ring, especially in the tag sense. And he's just one of those guys. I remember WWE made their ultimate dream list. They were just trying to ask on Twitter and see who the fuck's people put. And someone said, well, I guess no one's going to put Bobby Eaton and put him in a match against Shawn Michaels. And I was like, ooh, that would have been fun. Or him and Bret Hart, or, a lot of the guys in WWE, it would have been fun to see him against any of those guys. He could have gone, and he was one of those wrestlers. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but with Bobby Eaton, I could. There's a lineage of people that you could put him against that came later that would be absolutely phenomenal, right? But I did watch a match, Bobby Eaton match last night, Midnight Express versus Rock and Roll Express, Wrestle War 1990. Absolutely phenomenal. You should be able to find it on Daily Motion. It may be on the cock. Not 100% sure, but definitely if I had to pick a match to immediately go to, that was the one that stands out in my mind. It's a good damn match. I mean, it's just the best of both worlds with those two tag teams. I don't know that anyone's had as much chemistry as, I mean, there's a lot of people, like you can go like Macho Man and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. There's just certain people that have that chemistry, and Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express, every match they've ever had, I'm sure it's a 5-star plus. In
specifically Bobby and Ricky, because Ricky was basically selling for almost the whole entire match, getting his ass kicked, and Bobby Eaton usually was doing the ass kicking. So, yeah, just, I don't know. Any last thoughts? Or should we give the 10-second salute?
Yeah, just check out the 1990 run in Midnight Express with Midnight versus Rock and Roll Express at Wrestle War, and Midnight Express versus the Southern Boys, the Great American Bash.
Yes.
It brings up a name that you talked about earlier with Armstrong. But yeah, both those matches, those would be my recommendations of things to check out. And if you want to go earlier than that, then you can go to the any of the Road Warriors feud that they had, because they were basically just taking the ass whipping with Jim Cornette being the best chicken shit heel of all time. But yeah, man, damn. Absolute legend, Bobby Eaton, WWE Hall of Famer, and he will be missed. And like I said, just warm regards to his friends and family. This absolutely sucks.
All right, let's give him 10 seconds. You will be missed, beautiful Bobby Eaton. We will go back and watch your work and enjoy it. So now let's talk about this fucking craziness, Chris. Now that we got that over with.
We need more people to go with the name Beautiful, like when they look like Bobby Eaton. It's just such a good heel ass name. Look, Bobby, Bobby Eaton's not a bad looking guy, but I would not call him beautiful.
I mean, between him and Stan Lane, who was the looker out of the two, you know what I'm saying?
Sometimes the simple things make you hate someone.
Just that arrogance.
Yeah, it's great. Sorry, we can continue forward. I just thought about that. It's like, what if Bray Wyatt came back as the beautiful Bray Wyatt?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
You just put that out there. He's gonna be on NWA. Jesus Christ. I don't even know where to go with this, man. So, with nearly 50 wrestlers and several behind-the-scene employees released since April, we had a nice chunk announced last night by Sean Ross Sapp. Before we go over this, let's take you up to date on the two now wrestlers that somehow NXT and WWE management did not realize were both coming at the end of their contracts. We already talked last time about Adam Cole, Bebe. And now we found out the Bruiserweight also is about to end his contract. They got Adam Cole to at least extend his contract to this next SummerSlam takeover. So after that, he's free. And he doesn't have any non-compete. He's done with his contract unless he decides to stay with NXT. Pete Dunne literally ends also at that pay-per-view. So afterwards, once again, if he is not signed back with NXT, WWE, he can go work for whoever the fuck he wants immediately afterwards. These, to me, especially Adam Cole, but Pete Dunne too, is got to be one of my top. When I think of NXT, there's certain people I think of, and Adam Cole definitely is one of them, and Pete Dunne's pretty close as well. He's up there with your Garganos, your Ciampas, just people that you specifically associate with the brand NXT. So there was a lot of back and forth over Adam Cole apparently getting an offer from AEW while WWE was trying to figure out their end of the contract. And that was reported by Dave Metzler. He later reported that he got a hold of, or Tony Khan got a hold of him and said that was not the case, that they had made an offer for Adam Cole. So who knows, but Dave came back on that and basically apologized, which is whatever. I still find it hard to believe that Britt Baker's soon-to-be husband and with all the people that are EVPs that are good friends with Adam Cole, that they haven't at least talked to him financially about a possibility of signing. But that's what Tony said. That's fine. And we knew last night going into SmackDown, specifically Adam Cole was set to have a meeting before SmackDown with Vince McMahon about his future with the company. We know Triple H and Shawn, this is their golden boy. They definitely want him treated well. And also Pete Dunne, who hasn't done the NXT championship, but obviously was the UK heavyweight champion for however amount of time that Walter recently beat, but has had that twice and definitely could be on the precipice, especially with the stuff with him and Samoa Joe, of getting that title in the future. I could definitely see him being someone they put the title on. We'll go into that first. Chris, any comments about the updates about Adam Cole and his situation that we don't know exactly if he's signed or not, but he had a meeting with Vince. The reports were false that apparently Tony made an offer at him, but obviously there's something there. And the fact that Pete Dunne also, as soon as TakeOver happens after SummerSlam, can go wherever if they don't decide to or if he doesn't decide to re-sign.
As we get more into everything that's happened with NXT in the past couple days, it's going to be weird to kind of talk about what they're going to be doing with someone like an Adam Cole. But I will say his contract was already up and he signed an extension through SummerSlam. Right.
Yeah.
So he's obviously not against the idea of maybe staying there if given the correct situation and the correct paycheck. I know that he's a big Twitch guy, so going to the main roster, they still have that rule against people on Twitch and et cetera or whatever, so maybe that would affect his decision. And a lot of people are just thinking about from the sense of, I guess, the art form or what he's able to do in the ring and how he's going to be utilized, et cetera. but you have to look at it from the standpoint of like who's going to pay him the most money. What's the dates going to look like if he gets brought in? We talked about this last week, but if he gets brought in right now to an AEW, he's going to be coming on the heels of people like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. And it's just one of those things where, you know, even if he does sign with AEW, you probably shouldn't see him for six to 8 months before he debuts, because they're just loaded with talent. Whereas, you know, Adam Cole is kind of a shark in a small pond with NXT. I mean, he's definitely, when I think of NXT, I think of him and Ciampa and Gargano. If I go further back, I might think like Sami Zayn. But, you know, those are the people that come to mind when I think of NXT, that and the Four Horsewomen. And, you know, if they want to pay him to be that guy on NXT for forever and actually give him a fair offer of what that's going to be, I think that would be incredible. But with Pete Dunne, what are they going to do with the guy? They haven't given him an NXT title run. You know, he just got beat by Karrion Kross like kind of badly in that 3-way match. He's just kind of there. I mean, he's the guy that I could see move and go somewhere like New Japan in the junior division and be absolutely incredible, or, you know, anywhere else in the world and be phenomenal. What I don't want to see is them restructure this thing and he just goes back to, you know, WWE, NXT, UK or whatever. So it's a lot of up in the air stuff, and I don't know how to feel about it. I do know that from all the rumors and such, Adam Cole was at SmackDown last night, right? Specifically to talk to Vince about his contract.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe he went the Kenny Omega route where he's like, hey, if you don't have something fucking planned for me, I'm not going to do it. Or maybe ask for some creative control or something. But the crazy thing is people love Adam Cole so much that, you know, they're only looking at it from a career standpoint of what are you going to do with Adam Cole? And if he goes to the main roster, the worry is he's just going to be lost in the shuffle. And I don't know that that's necessarily not the case right now in NXT, because there's one glaring thing about all three of these shows, which is they have big, strong, beefy men who pretty much have undefeated streaks. They're squashing everybody. And that's what WWE is doing right now. And I don't know how Adam Cole fits into that picture. And like I said, with the Twitch stuff and some of his other things, and the fact that Britt Baker is in AEW, it would lead you to believe that might be a good option for him. As far as like the contract offer and stuff, obviously we have no clue. I mean, if Meltzer apologized for it, I don't know how much that means. But I would say he did re-sign until SummerSlam. So even if he's fielding offers, he's trying to do the right thing and leave on a good note. I don't know that, you know, if he does decide to leave and they're going to send him out, is losing Kyle O'Reilly the way you want to do it? But I that's going to be their option. They're going to have to do the Daniel Bryan thing.
All right, so let's just say they get offered both more money to go wherever. Maybe Adam Cole with AEW, like we talked about, for all the reasons. Maybe, like you suggested, which was a great suggestion, Pete Dunne in a New Japan platform. Like, thank God Vince hasn't noticed, or I should say, fucking Khan, Nick Khan hasn't noticed NXT UK, because once that happens, that whole entire fucking ship is sinking. But besides depleting 205 now, with these other people gone, who the fuck is left at NXT? Like, seriously. Like, they have a great striving women's division, but I'm talking about specifically the men's and the tag team men's. They don't have shit. They don't have anyone. They have a bunch of guys that are up and coming that all have promise, that are big dudes like Parker Bardot, and we've talked about Rick Steiner's son, and now, and congratulations to that amazing comeback from Gable Steveson for winning the gold medal. I definitely expect some guys like that to be getting built up, but most of those guys aren't in-ring wrestlers, so they're going to take more time to be able to get to that level. You know, Johnny's still there. Ciampa's still there. They have Thatcher, but I mean, they've destroyed their fucking whole entire men's division, and now taking Karrion Kross, bringing him up just to get, punked out. Probably going to lose Samoa Joe, which Samoa Joe having the title's awesome, but if you don't have Samoa Joe to be able to go against Pete Dunne, Adam Cole, Karrion Kross, Kyle O'Reilly, just like, I'm not trying to be a dick to Kyle, but Roderick Strong, I mean, those are interesting, but it seems like, just in general, and we'll go over the list soon, but, you got a pretty decent mid-card division and no one at the top, especially, like I said, if Adam Cole leaves. Karrion Kross is gone. Look what they did with Keith Lee. Damian Priest is somewhat getting used, I guess, but it's just a fucking wasteland. Am I wrong for thinking that, Chris?
You're not wrong, but when we get into these other releases, maybe they're going to restructure both of these products, because after SummerSlam they're doing the shuffle, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to move someone like a Sami Zayn back to NXT. Maybe they're going to take some of this talent they have on the main roster and reshuffle it back, which could make a lot of sense. But right now, as far as people that stand out on that product, it's Cameron Grimes. We're going to the moon, I guess. You're going to strap the rocket to Cameron Grimes, because I think he's the most over person on NXT, easily, right?
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I guess it's Cameron Grimes versus Samoa Joe.
And that's a place they could go, and they could have matches with Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, to build Joe's. It compared to what we could have had with, and this is also going into them leaving, but if Pete Dunne and Adam Cole go, Jesus, it's like, when is Triple H going to be, all right, like, seriously, can you fucking just killed this? Can I have Karrion Kross back? Can I have Keith Lee back? Like, are you going to do absolutely nothing? Because I don't know if you heard this rumor, but the newest rumor is they're going to be, it sounds like downsizing. It sounds like Gabe's Evolve NXT show might be combined with NXT, and they're going to go for a new look altogether. And this is basically Vince's idea. And I don't know if this means that eventually it's going to go back to the network. Maybe that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But it looks like they want a new look and change-ups post SummerSlam for NXT.
Yeah, and they still have that rumor out there with them in MLW, right?
Yep.
So, I don't know. How pissed are you if you're Samoa Joe and you just re-signed this contract?
I know.
After getting released to come in and maybe work with Adam Cole and all these cats, and they're gone. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like, oh, Finn left, Adam Cole's gone, Bronson Reed's now gone, Pete Dunne's gone, Karrion Kross is going up for not his fucking, benefacting. There's Samoa Joe's got to be hitting his head against a locker like Goldberg.
I mean, do you bring Velveteen Dream back?
Ugh.
I know it's grown worthy, but like, you bring him back as a heel?
Well, how I feel about that situation. I think that he kind of got fucked a bit, but his dumb ass shouldn't have listened to WWE and kept his mouth shut. And he can keep on saying that, oh, he did that himself, that was his decision. Bullshit. They told you to keep your fucking mouth shut about it, and you couldn't say anything until you got fired. But at the same time, people are not going to get over that. They won't even read the details. They'll just hate him for whatever speculation's out there. I think I would love AEW to sign him, or Enzo, who's completely cleared, or even Tessa. But I feel like any of those three, you're going to get a lot of guff from the not even super left, people that would have a problem with situations like that, especially if they don't research.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, who's up next in NXT if you don't bring someone like him back in? I mean, is it Austin Theory? Are you going to pull the trigger on that? Or are you going to send back down a Matt Riddle? Like, with what they've done to their company, or to NXT, and we'll get into this a little bit later, makes me think that NXT is not going to be NXT and that it may not be a show anymore. But we get into more details, I guess. So let's continue.
If the rumors are true, and if this is maybe condensed and what we're going to be seeing in the next couple of months, is NXT go back to the network as a network show, probably for an hour, but it gets a new look, and they want to vamp it up to make it look a little bit brighter, which is the biggest thing that Vince has a problem with it, apparently. And this is going to probably be a combination of what was supposed to be Gabe's thing and also NXT in general. And we get that. It could be better, man, because I have to say the best time period in NXT was when it was on the network, and it was an hour long. But then how long does it last until they realize they don't need the resources at all? That they can just have people at the school and they don't need another program and spending all that extra fucking money on production and shit.
Well, I mean, got bought by NBC, so if it goes back to the network, that's up to NBC, right? As far as putting out content and quantity, I would assume that they would want that to get people to subscribe just off the NXT name alone, or at least takeovers. It's such a weird situation, and when we talk about condensing and doing things like that, and Gabe Sapolsky doing kind of an Evolve thing, why didn't you just give Gabe the fucking reins when you bought Evolve 2 years ago?
No idea, man. Stay the fuck away from Court Bauer's MLW. Definitely don't try to fucking seize that.
I mean, is the idea that Triple H can't book the show? Is that what Vince is going on? And
where do you think Triple H? Where do you think Triple H is in on this? I mean, like literally, this has to fucking piss him off. There's no way it can. Especially if the Vince conversation with Adam Cole didn't go great last night, and they didn't, get to a place that they needed to. Like Hunter's baby project that he started with Dusty back in the day is now completely getting its soul ripped out. I mean, we haven't even talked about the 12 people that got let go.
Yeah, and we're not 100. I mean, Adam Cole could resign, and then this conversation is a bit different, and he could go on a run as champion, beat Joe, and go on a run and stay there, and they do Ciampa and Gargano, and it could be that. But the problem is, we've seen all of that, and
what else can he do?
That's why I was saying maybe bring back someone like Velveteen Dream. You got to push Cameron Grimes. You got to do something with Austin Theory. Like, they got guys in the wings, like we talked about earlier, but they haven't had any matches.
And they're not exactly wrestlers either. So they're going to take more time to get better. Well, besides Gable Steveson, which, like I said, USA! Sorry.
Just let him go in there and just fucking actually twist guys. That'll be great.
You gotta see, if you haven't seen the match, man. It sucks though with the whole I had to watch it after the fact, but he came back out of nowhere and was able to win it, and it was just awesome. And then he did a backflip, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be seeing you in wrestling soon. So that's gonna be pretty awesome.
I did get to see the highlights for that, but I also got to see the highlight of that guy doing that weird jumping, like standing sidewalk slam, which was fucking nuts. The Olympics have been very interesting this year.
Dude, I saw a video of a young Rick Steiner, and he was doing a sidewalk slam over his head, but did a moonsault with it. I'm like, Scott Steiner was a fucking beast, and we just don't even know it. Really.
The Michigan boys, they're thick.
Dude, I mean, seriously, Michigan for the Steiners. Is LOD from Michigan? No, they're from Detroit. Yeah, they're from Michigan. Isn't Kurt Hennig, Rick Rude, Brock Lesnar? Jesus Christ.
Well, some of them cats are from Minnesota.
That's right. I'm messing up Minnesota with Minnesota is. Oh, I can't remember. I know Brock Lesnar's from there, and so is Gable Steveson.
You just started a war between Minnesota College and Michigan University.
Well, eat a dick.
they're fighting
that rivalry.
It's also the same thing. It's the same thing with hockey too, where there's so many good people that come out of that area that you can easily confuse them. So I've done this before as well.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's actually talk about the people. And I don't even know if you know all these names. I don't even know some of these names. Some of these guys are in developmental. Bobby Fish, who was in a rivalry with Roderick Strong. And not only that, one of Adam Cole's best friends. You find out during the meeting, or maybe before the meeting, that one of your best friends just got let go of the company. That's probably not going to make you too happy. Bronson Reed, who, from what I know, was supposed to drop the North American title, and then he was supposed to go to the main roster. They had him in one match. They brought his ass back down, and then he lost to Adam Cole on the last episode. I like Bronson Reed a lot. I think that he's got a great look. He's a big dude. He can do some awesome stuff. Definitely reminded me of guys that were some of his favorites, like Bam Bam Bigelow and Earthquake. But, yeah, another great Polynesian wrestler from Australia. Then Jake Atlas, who I think had a lot of upside. I love the LGBT DDT that he did, the little cartwheel on the rope into the DDT. I don't know Aries Sterling. I'm not 100% sure. Here's someone, Chris, I don't think anyone knew was employed still, and that's Kona Reeves, because I don't remember the last time fucking Kona Reeves has been on anything. I feel bad, but Leon Ruff, who was doing great on 205 Live, apparently, but also that whole run that he had where he was like the underdog. Stephon Smith, not sure. Tyler Rust, like I said, the only other member of the Diamond Mine, along with Roderick Strong and Stokely Hathaway. Zachariah Smith, not 100% sure. Asher Hale, not 100% sure. Giant Zangier, not 100% sure. And then Mercedes Martinez. So the ones that are glaring, I would say Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Leon Ruff a little bit because they pushed the shit out of him, Mercedes Martinez, and probably Jake Atlas. Not only that, it's just weird because they were making a big deal, and it was a good thing for the fact that they had a lesbian wrestler and a gay wrestler a part of their organization. Now both Mercedes Martinez and Jake Atlas both come from the company. Wow, I can't. Bobby Fish, you're telling me with Martinez and Fish, you couldn't have found them some type of training? They're older in their careers. They definitely can help out with the next generation. And maybe that's what happens. But if I was Bobby Fish, I'm going home to Ring of Honor, and I'm going to go there and kick some fucking ass and have a lot of aggression and do some amazing matches over there. Maybe go for the pure championship against Jonathan Gresham. But, yeah, man, that was all the names, Chris.
I think the standouts, like you said, Bobby Fish. To me, Bobby Fish and Mercedes Martinez are the most surprising. And knowing what's going on with Adam Cole's contract, and I have no inside information on this, but do you think this is just a fucking work?
No, I don't think so. I think that it just, dude, I don't even think Vince realized shit. Like, Nick Khan was like, what about this Bobby Fish guy? I don't know who the hell he is. Fire him. Oh, I got my next meeting with Adam Cole. Adam, come on in. And that's how it happened. I don't think he even fucking knows.
Well, let's say that they let Gabe pick like 6 people, right, to start this new thing. Could they do something like this? And would that, fans will be pissed off originally, but when they show back up, maybe you get that pop for it. And you can treat it kind of like you did with ECW and Paul Heyman kind of deal. Do you think it's something like that? Because it's just so weird. Like, I don't understand getting rid of Bobby Fish. He's a guy that you could throw into a tag team with anyone pretty much, right? And the same thing with Mercedes Martinez. They've pushed to the moon.
Completely different stylistically, and their both name is Bobby. That's pretty much the only thing they have in common. But talking about Bobby Eaton, Bobby Fish is someone that's a great tag team wrestler. You can put him in a fucking whoever with him, whether it be like we saw with Kyle, Adam, or Roderick. He's a great tag team wrestler, and I'm sure, I don't know what he's going to do past this. I love the idea with the Gabe thing, but I don't know. Now I don't really think they give a fuck about NXT. So I don't even know what the hell they're going to do. They could cancel all plans for that shit. You know, I have no faith in Vince giving a fuck about NXT, even at the detriment of pissing off his brother-in-law or his son-in-law.
Yeah, I mean, it just with some of the names there, like Bronson Reed, etc. It just seems like, I don't know. It's one of those things that's like kind of hard to believe because Bronson Reed, like you said, was just North American champion.
And they were sending him up. What the fuck? It was Bronson Reed's definitely someone, like you said, a Pete Dunne, and I think that's a great idea. Or Pete Dunne, maybe Ring of Honor, or maybe doing a double contract. These guys, a lot of them, especially if they're coming from WWE, are able to work out shit with contracts. So even though New Japan and Ring of Honor don't necessarily have ties, I could see Pete Dunne working at both organizations because they kind of adhere to him. But Bronson Reed, if he went to Japan, I think he would be a big deal. I think that he could have a fun, you know, maybe thing with Bad Luck Fale at first, but then put him in his place and just really be like a Bam Bam Bigelow over there, basically.
He reminds me a lot of Michael Elgin, where I think he could pretty much, if you wanted to slot him in like a New Japan's the New Japan American show, what is it, New Japan Strong, or like Ring of Honor, he'd be like a perfect fit. And I'm just very surprised because when you lose someone like Miro, etc., there is a spot for a guy like Bronson Reed, and you, like you said, you just gave him the title. So it's one of those things, and this goes back to, is WWE selling? And if they're selling,
exactly.
And we kind of talked about this before, but if they're selling and they're consolidating the roster, and they are selling to NBC, who owns USA, maybe USA wants to get rid of that show, put it on Peacock or whatever. And like we were talking about a little bit earlier, the draft would be after SummerSlam, so reconsolidating the roster. Maybe some of this makes a bit more sense, but right now it is kind of baffling, to say the least. I mean, Samoa Joe is about to go on a Brock Lesnar run as NXT champ. That's the only thing that comes to mind, I guess, what they're doing.
Unless they bring Walter here and have that go on for a while and build the fuck out of that up.
Yeah, but if you're Walter, who doesn't want to wrestle in the United States to begin with, are you super hyped about coming over here now? Like,
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't even want to be noticed if I was Walter, because like I said, as soon as Nick Khan and fucking Vince realize there's an NXT UK, those doors are gonna come crashing down. 205 Live is not gonna be on much longer. There's no reason to have it anymore. Like, their cruiserweights that they feel are, and I agree with them, are the most elite, are the ones that they use, including the champion Kushida on NXT, and he's never on 205 Live. It's been the guys, and all of them now are fired, pretty much. All of them.
If you're Walter, I feel like you can pretty much name the price of your next contract.
Oh yeah.
After the matches he's had, if he really wants to, I wouldn't expect him to.
Hey, if we can get Okada versus Walter, man, you know that's one of my dream matches. He would be awesome in Japan. You're talking about a new Vader? Holy shit.
I'm sure Okada would love that match. Love that matchup. Him and Tanahashi would be great too. It'd be a different match, but both those matches would be fucking phenomenal.
I just think that Okada and Walter are on a different level when it comes, and that's, I'm not saying Tanahashi isn't, but when it comes to modern guys, you know, they're on a different level when it comes to putting together matches. Honestly, I think Adam Cole's close to that too. Like, every time I watch an Adam Cole match, even if I don't give a fuck about the actual feud, and that's the fault of NXT, I always like the matches and the layouts. I mean, he did learn from Shawn Michaels, so might have something to do with it.
WWE is going to be in a little bit of trouble here in the next year or so, because Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens contracts are coming up as well. Like, end of 2022, beginning of 2023. There's a lot of main roster guys. I think Finn Balor's is going to be up. And AEW's numbers are over 1 million right now. So to me, they have become more competition with like Raw than NXT at this point, especially if they continue on this trend. And we're talking about them getting Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, which I think is just going to boost that number. I'm not saying, you know, it's the house is on fire, but there's definitely some smoke you should be worried about. And I don't know that I'd be releasing these guys, especially if they're under, decent contracts. Like, I'm assuming Bronson Reed's contract is not, in the same vicinity of a John Cena. I feel like you could probably eat that money as a $1 billion company.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I just want to be a fly on the wall in the kitchen of Triple H, like venting to Stephanie, because I know that's probably happening right now. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. This is ridiculous. The fucking shovel style. He's fucking shoveling my whole fucking network.
I mean, unless Triple H is like, we should sell this shit so I can be done with it and finally start my Motorhead cover band.
Time to play the game.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing that, as wrestling fans, I think we all do this, and in sports fans in general, you romanticize what it is, but at the end of the day, like, Triple H is in his 50s. Maybe he's just fucking done. So if they can sell it and he's just done with it and can go do whatever he wants, like, buy some jet skis and hang out with his wife and kids and not have to worry about this bullshit, maybe that's what it is. I mean, when they brought in,
it's not that I don't agree with you. There's definitely that, like, the whole fuck it retirement aspect. But as much as we clown on Hunter for being cold and certain things in the past and shit like that, that I think gets chalked up to him marrying Stephanie and whatnot and whatever, whether it be true or not, these kids mean a lot to him. And some of them aren't kids anymore. He's literally been teaching them for a long time. This has to, like, especially with the style that they present on NXT, the matches that they put on, and the praise they get for that aspect of their show, this has to fucking really bother him. There's no way around that. Like, this is the guy that's mentored him. That's his father-in-law. He's married to his daughter, and he just doesn't get it. And he keeps on fucking up constantly. And even the ones that do decent, like a Kevin Owens, like a Sami Zayn, like a Finn Balor, still aren't pushed to that level. In actuality, it's almost they have a stigma because they are NXT guys. And I feel like outside the women's division, Vince doesn't give a fuck about NXT.
Well, to play a little bit of devil's advocate, just because they sell the company doesn't mean Triple H can't work there. He could just be rehired.
It's a good point. If they sell the company completely, do you think that there would be any aspect of Triple H wanting to be like, can we work out so I take the NXT name and I make it my own organization? Or would that not be accessible? Because they would obviously would not be able to do it through the the Performance Center. That would be WWE's straight thing. But do you think that he, if in this situation WWE is selling most likely to Universal NBC, do you think that he could, if he wanted to, get NXT as its own thing by itself and allow him to take it somewhere else?
That, or they give him the whole reins for all of their shows. I mean, like, what's the other option? Paul Heyman, Gabe Sapolsky. I mean, those would be the three people, unless you're gonna give Delirious a big run at it.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, how many people are out there that can, like, you can give it to Billy Corgan? There's not that many guys that, if you're NBC and you've seen what Triple H has done with NXT and know who he is, he would be the obvious choice to run the company, even if they do sell. Which maybe that's what it is Triple H is like, fuck it. Well, when they sell, I'll just do what I wanted to do to begin with. Like, if he becomes the CEO, if he becomes, let's say, today's Vince McMahon under NBC, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Or do you think, I mean, like, because NBC's not going to hire the guy that did fucking King of Queens or whatever to run wrestling.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be like, what was that show that we had that was so popular? Put that guy over wrestling, because it just doesn't work. It has to be a wrestling guy.
They show up at the first meeting and Jerry Seinfeld is,
What?
Hi guys, I'm now in charge.
What is the deal with Triple H?
Jesus. We also have to wait for that old man to finally croak, though. You know.
I
Was
don't
that
know.
too much? Was that too far? He said
Larry,
the N-word on television. Fuck him.
the Larry David version of WWE is something I kind of want to see, though.
What?
Like,
you mean like Alzheimer's? It's
I
going to be
don't-
like Biden running the country, right? Never mind. I don't want to say that.
I don't know, man. Like, if you let Larry David write like some Cameron Grimes stuff, I'm sure it'd be great.
God, Vince is just, I mean, he's got to be getting up there in age. It's going to be like, Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan, what year is it? It's 1983, 1989. Okay, gotcha.
There's this Twitter page, and I highly recommend everyone follows it. It was just like Vince McMahon uses Google, and the first thing when the Adam Cole stuff
God.
came up was like, which one is Adam Cole? Which it's sad, but I could see that being a thing. Like,
Ugh.
I don't know, man. This is just it's been the weirdest week of wrestling, and I don't know. Like everyone has said, Khan has dealt with selling of large companies. Big Khan, as they call him, right? Has dealt with selling companies before, and they've been, like you said, 50 people.
Yeah.
And there was releases even before that.
Yep.
If you go back to when Lance Storm, etc., were released, I mean, like Jeff Jarrett just recently got released. I'm looking forward to when he's able to talk about that.
That's going to be interesting. He's someone, I mean, I hate to say this. I'd love to see Jeff go back to Impact in some fucking way. Obviously not as an owner now, but as a character. I don't know.
How's Jeff's body doing? You can get the King of the Mountain show up.
I
and
can't
hit
believe
Kenny Omega
like,
with a fucking
and we
guitar.
talked to him, and he was so humbled and happy that after all the shit that he held up WWE for, they still let him in the Hall of Fame, and I was happy for him. But what the fuck did they only use him for? The Royal Rumble, to not be the slapnut Jeff Jarrett, but the old school one, and get a fucking guitar to the head from Elias. And that was the only other time we saw him until he worked behind the scenes. So they don't give a shit about Jeff Jarrett, is what I'm trying to say.
He's not in their Hall of Fame either, so he's like a perfect Impact guy.
No, he's in their Hall of Fame. Remember we talked to him right when he was getting sent in.
No, I'm talking about Impact's Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I would assume, but they just now inducted Ken Shamrock and Abyss the year before, and it's like, Ken Shamrock was your first fucking champion. How the hell was he not in?
They did Sting. They did Ken Shamrock. They did Gail Kim.
Bully's in.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I mean, if not, like, there you go. Bring it back. Have him hit fucking Kenny Omega with a guitar and call him Slapnuts.
There you go. I'm down for that. Even as like Scott D'Amore makes him the commissioner or some bullshit like that, just as an on-screen character.
He could be the American Bullet Club manager. Wasn't he part of Bullet Club, technically?
He was, man. He was. He let us know that, too. I was like, you're one of the only guys to be a part of the NWO and the Four Horsemen. He's like, I was part of Bullet Club, too. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you guys go back and check out that interview that Dane did with Jeff Jarrett. It was phenomenal. Jeff seems like a great guy, man, honestly.
Really good dude. But, yeah, man, this is nuts. I understand if they're selling, but I mean, they're getting rid of a lot of talent. They're not showing a lot of restraint. I mean, Vince isn't obviously making that comment about we'll just give AEW some more talent. Like the people that are there that are not on the top tier or second to top tier. What I'm talking about is like obviously your Romans, Charlotte, who now I don't even know what the hell she's going to do at the end of her contract. She's done everything in the WWE. They don't even count some of her championships that they used to because it's NXT. Fucking stupid. She can now go to where most likely her dad's going and where her husband or her future husband is. So that's another person altogether. But let's think about this. If you're not like your Seth Rollins, your Becky Lynch's, your Roman Reigns, anyone, Bray Wyatt got released. Bray Wyatt.
I mean, unless your name is Randy Orton, I don't think there's a guarantee on your paycheck. Like Randy Orton.
Basically, you got to be legacy like Edge and all them, or one of the top guys in the company that they rely on, or be related to one of those guys. So I think the Usos are okay.
Well, yeah, you could just drive around drunk and still work the next night. It's fine. I have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming that this brand split is going to end. Is my guess when they go to do the draft. Maybe that's a big surprise, and that's why they're consolidating the rosters, which would make the most sense. But who the hell knows? I do know that if I'm fucking Fox, I'm pretty pissed off that you're just letting guys go that could potentially be on your show, which is a higher rated show than Raw, and you're giving them this fuck ton of money. You know, like if you're like the Fox contract guy, I don't even know what the hell you call him. It's not necessarily a producer, right? Because it's still produced by Vince. But if you're like there and you're a wrestling fan and you just see that they released all these guys, like you couldn't have put like Reed and Bobby Fish into a tag team and brought them to SmackDown so that we don't have to watch, I don't know, the Usos versus the Mysterios for the 17th time.
Or the other one that they completely do all the goddamn time, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler against the Street Profits. That's the only two tag team sets that they have, I guess.
Well, I mean, you could just have, Big E kill Apollo Crews and then his next opponent is Bronson Reed, which would be big men slapping meat, which we all like.
Hell yeah. Dude, how funny was it last night? And I still think he's going for the Raw title, but when Paul Heyman just let Caleb Braxton have it, and then he looks to the side, and Big E's all smiles, just shaking and gyrating with that fucking Money in the Bank, and like Paul Heyman's selling it so well, like just completely freaked out. He's like, I'm gonna get him! I'm gonna get him! I'm gonna get him! Like, I love fucking Big E. He's so great. So entertaining.
Paul Heyman over the past 5 years has cemented his legacy as maybe the greatest manager of all time. I think he surpassed anyone else for me. He's
the only one that has him anywhere close is Bobby Heenan, but I mean, if you look at the guys Bobby's managed, I think Heyman's got him beat, man.
It's just everything Paul's done in the past 5 years has been fucking great. I mean, 5 years. I was going to say, if you go further back and you get into like Ryback and they put him with some pretty shitty people like Kurt Hennig's son, unfortunately.
Curtis
some of that's booking. There's nothing you can do about that. But outside of that, like
CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, The Big Show. I mean,
well, just like also his own camera persona, right? Like
he's got some of the best acting, literally, in the business. It comes off real.
Yeah, it came off. He learned all that when he was doing Rollerball with Ice Cube. Or not, was it Ice? No, it's LL Cool J. That's who it was. Remember that?
The guy from American Pie, right? And
God.
The buff, dumb one. It gets with Mina Savari at the end of it. I forgot the actor's name. I don't even care.
We should do a review of that movie.
And it has Rebecca Romaine Stamos, and she gets very, very naked, and I was not offended. I'll just put it that way.
I don't think anyone was. Was it called Murder Ball or Rollerball? It was. I know it's a remake of a 70s film. It's
I don't know.
Rollerball.
They had that time period where they were like, all right, Rollerball, we're going to redo that. We're going to redo Death Ray.
Myth versus fact. Pop quiz. What does not cause infertility or genetic mutations, but can save lives? All the free COVID-19 vaccines that are already protecting millions of people in Virginia. Visit vaccinate.virginia.gov.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do,
And he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death. starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
But it's not going to be nowhere near as cool as the original with Dr. Frankenstein and hitting old people and getting points for it and shit. That was a ridiculous fucking movie.
Well, at least like the Rollerball remake was true to the original Rollerball. You know, like it was basically the same. Fucking Death Race is like
Death Race, wasn't it just like what's it? Jason Statham. I'm gonna ride this thing in prison. I'm gonna kill everyone. Pretty much the whole thing. It's not the transport or a crank, but it's on the same lines.
Pretty much. Anyways, Rollerball 2002, LL Cool J.
Anyways, WWE's disintegrating their assets right now, pissing off their fucking networks, and Vince and Nick Khan are just gonna, I don't know, hopefully make love and then just delete WWE altogether.
Maybe they're selling the company so that they can make a new Rollerball movie starring Roman Reigns.
All right, I think we're done with the subject. Do you think that we can move on?
Yeah, and is there anything you want to say about either NXT or SmackDown? Because I think we're moving into AEW, right?
Yeah, I mean, NXT, I don't really remember what the fuck happened. I'm just really pumped for the Samoa Joe Karrion Kross match. I honestly could not tell you any big detail from the show, though. I drank, though, that night, so it might have something to do with it. Do you remember anything?
It was not a very good show. I do remember that. There wasn't anything that really stood out, like other than, the fact that Samoa Joe was brought in to break up brawls and then starts a bazillion brawls, which is hilarious to me. But, I mean, yeah, it is more of the same.
All right, so we got that. SmackDown last night was a lot of fun. I like that it seems like they're giving somewhat of a push to Finn. They're not like making him this pushover immediately. He's not smiley. He even addressed that and said there's going to be no more smiles on Finn. Came much more like his old attitude. I don't think they're going to push him that far. I think he's probably going to get matched with Roman right before on a SmackDown for SummerSlam. Maybe the night he'll go against Roman, they'll have a championship match going into that Chicago Rampage to just make it big, I guess, on their end. I don't know how that works. Or they're not going to do it, and Finn's going to have Roman after Roman beats John Cena. I don't see Finn winning that title, honestly, ever. Even though he was the first champion, it's just how it is. But the audience was into him, and they were really into John Cena, who wasn't there, but a lot of John Cena chants. So good stuff all around with that shit. And Baron Corbin somehow continues to be a guilty pleasure of mine on that fucking show, Chris.
Who's your guilty pleasure?
Baron Corbin and his poor ass and him begging not to get his ass kicked. I love he came out with no music and Pat McAfee's like, he can't even afford his music. Like, Jesus Christ. He's so good, man. Like, he's actually making me like Michael Cole.
I've loved what they've done with Baron Corbin. It's a good change, man, because I've always liked Baron Corbin. I think me and you have talked about this in the past. It's
one of the best finishers.
And they've used him so poorly over the years. But this is a real fun character for him. It is reminiscent of the Big Show a little bit. Remember when Big Show couldn't afford to feed his family or whatever? It's kind of what they're going for, but more jokingly. But yeah, I've really enjoyed that. And God, who's the guy that does Shinsuke's Boggs? He's a highlight.
Rick
Boogs. Yeah, Boogs. He's a highlight.
I'd like to see him in the ring. They need to tag him and Shinsuke, because I think Rick has some upside to be a big character by himself. And he's like, I was going to say, he's like, what's his name? Oh man, the guy that I just talked about hit the guitar over the head of Jeff Jarrett.
He's like Elias, but he can shred.
But he doesn't suck. That's what I was going to say.
And he's not bad in the ring. So.
Yeah, Elias is kind of made out of rock when he's not rock and roll, like rock.
He's bad rock. circa 96.
I knew that it wasn't going anywhere for Selena Vega, obviously with their match with Bianca, but I thought Sasha killed it when she came in, fucking called her out and was being all heelish, but people still love her. And I'm looking forward to the rematch from WrestleMania with Bianca and Sasha. And I don't think Sasha's getting back that title. So that was another thing I liked.
Were you excited about it's boss time?
Oh my God, dude, I swear to God, I can't wait until Pat McAfee makes fun of him. He's got to do it at one point. He's like, did you just come in?
Mean?
I don't know, man. But Michael Cole releases the biggest orgasm when he does that, apparently.
I hope that Pat McAfee just starts singing fucking Bruce Springsteen every time Cole does that. Just like any Springsteen song.
Oh my God. That'd be hilarious.
He just like low-key looks at Cole and he's like, wrap your legs around my velvet hips and strap your hands across my engine. He's just like, all right.
Or just say to Michael Cole, like, you know, baby, we were born to run.
oh, I'm on fire.
Pat McAfee also, we didn't get a chance to talk about it because it didn't happen, I don't think. Or I didn't notice it, but kudos to him. He was in Minnesota last week for SmackDown, the home of one of his favorite wrestlers, and he said a huge influence of him when he was doing the whole wrestling thing, Mr. Perfect, and perfectly did that little pen thing while the camera was on him, exactly like Mr. Perfect would do it back in the day. And I like that. I like Pat McAfee. I like that. Obviously, he came from the world of football, but he loves and appreciates wrestling, and he does a damn good job at commentary. I just want to see him back in the ring at some point. That's all I'm saying.
Same. Maybe that's what Vince was talking about. It's like, hey, maybe we get that feud going with you and Pat on SmackDown.
But yeah. AEW. Stuff I liked. Ending. I'm just going to go right to it. Cody got to figure out a better way to transition from I have to go do my show with Brandy and finish that, and then also do the big show or whatever the fuck it is with Rosario Dawson and Snoop Dogg. Because it's 2 years in a row. This one even more dramatic, and there's no fucking way in my head, especially the way that they presented it, did I think that Cody was going to quit at all. So to throw that out there, so yeah, if you're saying that would be awesome. I would love to see if Adam Cole's going to come to the main roster, get on SmackDown, and him and Pat McAfee go at it again. I'm definitely down for that. But I guess it switches though, Chris, because Pat's got to be a babyface. I don't think he can go back to being a heel unless he does. I mean, he is honestly someone. I'm surprised AEW didn't put a fucking number on his ass because he just did up so well. And you know, he was one of the better people on the mic that time period when he was wrestling Adam Cole. He really was. So anything that he does, I love the little nod to Mr. Perfect. I love that, you know, like I said, he came from the football world and he cares about wrestling. But yeah, good shit.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he supposed to be a heel announcer? It's just not. People just aren't accepting that into their lives.
when you have John Cena's come out and Michael Cole goes, "There's John Cena," and he goes, "Where?" Like, you know, playing into the "you can't see me" thing. Like, my God, he's just brilliant. So I don't know if he is a heel.
I loved his like cowboy outfit. Like it's like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I remember that.
I thought it was very funny that when he helped Sasha Banks up on the table, he like, so her ass wasn't right in his face. He like moved like 20 feet. It's like, yeah, I'm not getting fucking caught for this shit. If it was Jerry the King Lawler, he would not have moved, and he would have had a smile on his face the whole entire time.
There was a lot of awkward situations with female wrestlers this week, because there's another one on AEW with is it Camille from NWA?
Holy fuck, man! I mean, that visual. We'll just go into AEW. Love you, Pat McAfee. But that visual of Layla Hirsch and Camille, That was like, it looked like Kurt Angle and the Big Show.
Yeah, I liked it. Like JR and Tony Schiavone was not trying to catch a charge, like on the announcements.
They're just shutting the fuck up. I'm not going to say a goddamn thing.
Yeah, they were just like, but they were supposed to be pointing out like the size and stature, and they were trying to do it in the most PC way possible. But like, she's wearing like tight leather, 6-inch heels. Yeah, it was rough. Let's just say that. I kind of felt for JR and Tony Schiavone as a fellow heterosexual trying to announce
Jesus,
what was going on there.
But as much as I like that, and I really do like Layla Hirsch, I think she's awesome, and I'm glad that she's got a chance at the NWA title. This made me want to stare down with Camille and Jade Cargill even more.
Maybe that's where they're going, though. Right.
I hope so, because that would be a fun face-off, man. And they're both Jade's got improvement, but everything that we've seen, she's pretty damn good, and she's also good at feeding off the audience. And Camille has gotten way fucking better.
Oh yeah, 100%. And unfortunately, my nieces are fans of the bunny. They're into the gimmick, so they were not very happy about any of that.
Have you explained to your nieces that they might like the bad guys more so than the good guys?
Is the bunny a bad guy? I don't know.
She freaks Tony out, man. He's always making fucking comments about it, like, "Oh, she's crazy." Like, okay, Tony, chill out.
She wears a bunny mask. Insane.
By the way, if Tony keeps on having to do every goddamn interview and running back and forth, I think he's gonna lose some weight. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, poor Tony.
What big things happen on this show? All right, is it just me? And I'm not going to get on Chris Jericho because I think that he did get a little bit blown up with him and Hoovy. I think Hoovy got a little bit blown up, honestly. But it was still fun. I don't know what the fuck. I guess they turned it into a bulldog, but it looked like Juventud Guerrera was going off the top ropes to the outside and was trying to do what he used to do back in the day, which was catch him in a Hurricane Rana. And it just didn't work out that way. But are the trials way the fuck out of order? Like, I know that we don't know who the referee is. They corrected that, even though JR spoke. So we don't know who MJF's referee is going to be. Maybe it's Lance Storm, for instance. I have no idea. He made it seem like it's someone as evil as him. If it's Tully Blanchard, that's going to be completely boring as fuck. Please don't do that. But you're going to tell me that he goes against Shawn Spears. Good opening. Shawn's got a window to be able to use chairs. And the second one, he makes him go against Nick Cage and then Juventud. Like, to me, it seems like it should have been Hoovy's the second one. It's from his past. He's got to do a more fast, high-performance match. And then Wardlow, and then Nick Gage. Or at least Nick Gage is the third one. Like, after you get completely bombed, who the fuck cares about, going through a sprinkler? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
It is one of those weird situations where, like, you like Mortal Kombat 2, for instance, like, or Mortal Kombat, you beat Goro, and then you, like, that's a harder fight than the main boss kind of thing, Like, it is weird that that's how they laid it out. You have to win the match by jumping off the top rope versus, like, Nick Gage is going to hit you with light tubes. It's a bit weird, for sure, as far as the ordering of how this stuff worked.
Like, when MJF was talking to Chris Jericho last week, Jericho was, like, bleeding out, basically. Like, he's like, I'm dying right here. Like, I don't give a fuck about it. Who's Juventud Guerrera? Like, Jesus.
I like that Nick Gage took way better care of Jericho than he did Matt Cardona, though.
Yeah. Of course he is, though. He's got to make sure that he doesn't fuck up Chris Jericho. Jesus.
But
that was a brutal match.
Yeah, if you watch the aftermath of both of those things, like, Jericho was fine. Matt Cardona's, like, bleeding in bed, like, dying, basically. Chelsea Green on Twitter was, with those photos, was pretty brutal. Not anything against Nick Gage or anything, but it's babyface Nick Gage. Yeah. It is just weird that you're like, that's the the levels of things. You're gonna fight Sean Spears with a chair, and you're like, okay, all right, that's not that bad. Nick Gage, and they're like, now you got to fight Juventud Guerrero.
And your last person is David Arquette. What?
Special guest referee Eric Bischoff, calling it
All
now.
right. So a lot of special guests were called out for either next week or future stuff. So let's go over a little bit of that. That was one of them. Who do you think the special guest referee is going to be? Because MJF he's going to be at ringside, but he made it seem like it's someone, like him, basically. A piece of shit.
Yeah, Eric Bischoff.
Oh, that would be fun.
I mean, in the lineage of Jericho, Eric Bischoff is not necessarily a babyface, right?
No, they have this on and off again. Fun shit. Yeah, that would be great. I don't know, man.
I mean, because Zip and Lance Storm are actually friends and former tag partners. Like Lance Storm,
and Lance is not a dick. Yeah. Like he did his whole shtick for himself, but he was saying that this person is going to be like that. So I don't know. Like I said, it'll be really boring if it's Tully Blanchard.
I mean, it was really boring that it was Juventud Guerrero and not Lance Storm. Or
you don't think if there's already been talks, you don't think they're gonna fucking just throw Ric Flair in this role, right?
No, you save him for when Cody comes back. I feel like that's where they're going with Rick.
Yeah, and then all right, so then we had Andrade and the Lucha Bros go back and forth. They told him to fuck off, and basically Andrade, or I think it was Alex, or maybe it was Chavo. It was Chavo. Chavo made word that if they're not going to work for him, he's going to find someone else. Is that someone that already is wrestling there, or could this be a situation where, like I suggested in the past, maybe Roosh and Dragon Lee show up for like, I don't know, a fucking 3-on-3 for the pay-per-view, and then they're gone or something? Or do you think it's someone in the company?
It's just all of LIJ. No, I think
Naito.
Yeah, Naito. That's who it is. That would be fucking incredible, but with everything going in Japan, obviously that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, no, I could see that. Yeah, I think you picked out two great people for that one, Chavo.
Well, it's like, like I said, Roosh was in the original with him. Dragon Lee's Roosh's brother. They have history. That's the only reason I kind of go that way. But then their Ring of Honor signed. I don't even know. So it's complicated, but I'm pretty sure both guys are going to be at Triple Mania. That's happening soon. I know the Lucha Bros are going to be there, so maybe they're setting up a tag team itself. I don't know. Do
you do Problem Powerful?
Good. Conan, well, I think Conan would tell him to fuck off. Because apparently Conan's going to be on as their manager, like, long term now. I think you would tell Chavo to go fuck himself.
I feel like they fucking missed the boat with the manager choice for Andrade, if that's the case. But I don't know. Maybe Ric Flair shows up and puts Chavo in a figure 4. Who the hell knows? The weird part about that is the Bastard Pack. Where does he fit into this? He's just an afterthought.
I guess they're just gonna. So it seems like, yeah, they don't like Pac. They think that he's holding down the Lucha Bros. They're telling him to fuck off. So maybe, like I said, I guess at All Out, maybe, or maybe it's gonna be one of the Rampages. It'll be the 3 Death Triangle against Andrade and 2 people of his choosing, and maybe they'll just be like a one-time thing. So that's where Roosh could come in. They could set this up at Triple Mania,
Do you remember it wasn't that long ago that the Bastard Pack was supposed to be fighting Hangman Adam Page for the title?
Yep.
It's just weird. I mean, he had that banger of a match with Kenny Omega, and I don't know, man. Is there something with that guy?
I think that the pandemic kind of killed his momentum because we didn't see him for however long, and he couldn't wrestle over there. So he just gave those weird vignettes in black and white, of him on this stone fucking stairs downtown London. That was about it. But he's obviously, to me, one of their best overall people. Great on the mic, great in the ring, great fucking gimmick, everything, you know?
Yeah, the only reason I brought it up is because he kind of unceremoniously left WWE and then had that weird 6-month period where he knew he was going to be fighting in a title match, but had a title and couldn't sign some kind of weird deal.
Pro Wrestling Noah.
And then was gone for a while and then kind of came back, and it's not been heavily prevalent on the shows. I'm kind of wondering if maybe this is a guy thing. Like,
I don't know.
It's just kind of weird because
he did just have a title match, even though no one thought anything of him because of Orange Cassidy. That 3-way was Pac, Orange Cassidy, and Kenny. So I think they're still keeping him. You know what? And you're probably going to disagree with me. With all the fucking factions and 3-man groups, I think they need a 3-way title, or 3-man tag title. Honestly,
if there was going to be a company to do it, I think AEW would be able to pull it off just because they have their factions built out well and they have the talent to do it. But I hate it. What'll happen is it'll start off strong and then it'll just fall off a fucking cliff. No one ever builds that shit, right?
Would you rather? And Jesus Christ, New Japan has both options. New Japan has the most titles. I don't know. WWE has a lot of titles as well, but they have a lot of things. Would you rather a 3-man tag title or them do some maybe like have their world title is their world title, but have a light heavyweight title division?
Well, I mean, aren't they going to have 2 sets of TV titles when they start Rampage?
No, they're changing. I think they're changing it. So it doesn't say I don't know. I have no. They're only going to have one, because they're going to always be on TBS. But I don't know what they're doing with the TNT name. Dude,
I like that they have 3 sets of belts, or 4 if you include the women's division. I like that because it makes the titles more prestigious. As soon as you start putting in titles that don't matter, then you end up with like the European Championship.
Hey, you don't say anything bad about that championship. It was ran by British Bulldog and D'Lo Brown.
Hey, they had some good fucking matches for the European title. I'm not saying that they were bad workers. I'm just saying no one looks back fondly on the European title.
Hey, remember when Shawn Michaels was a dick and told British Bulldog that if they were going to have a title match, he had to put his title on the line? And British Bulldog obviously knew that Shawn was going to win, so Shawn just got both of them. And I think they were in England where he won it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. And Shawn's always peeing, so European champ.
He is always peeing on people.
He's
sometimes.
Taking a piss.
And if you're Jake the Snake Roberts, you drink your own piss.
I was more going for the joke. Are you taking a piss kind of thing? You went there with the R. Kelly. It's hard to come back.
God. All right. Anything else from AEW? Oh no, that's right. There was 2 more. So Britt Baker said that she needs some more help at the ring because obviously Reba's destroyed. This time for real. So she's bringing in. What, I forgot her wording. She's bringing in a big amount of help or something like that. Does this mean Awesome Kong's coming back? Because I can't think of anyone that would be that great of a bodyguard, especially against, Nyla. Not Awesome Kong. I meant. Oh
Aja?
Fuck! What the hell? No. Awesome Kong. Yeah. Karma. It's Karma. I don't know who else would be. Who's a monster that would help out Britt Baker? Jake Cargill?
Jordan Grace?
Ooh, I like that idea.
Aja Kong, Awesome Kong, Jordan Grace would be my 3 picks. Aja Kong would be hilarious because like Britt could just yell at her and then she could say something back in Japanese.
And just swat at her?
Yeah, like That would be good. I mean, I guess it just depends on what they're going for. I don't know that Britt Baker needs an enforcer. I know they're trying to make her heel, but she's fucking over.
She's over. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
You can't rewind.
It's kind of like Becky. It was just there was no way we were gonna fucking boo her, so she kind of did some Austinisms and still kept her aggressiveness. But with Britt Baker, I get more of a Rock vibe where she can lay it in, but not at the audience, still be who she is, but not have to, like, whenever she makes a comment at the audience, I'm like, oh, give me a fucking break. She's a babyface. Whenever she does anything heelish, I'm like, this is stupid. She's supposed to be a babyface that has an edge to her. That's it.
All right, we'll get into this coming up, but there's not very many heels in this company because all of the AEW fans that are in the arena love everyone. There's not anyone.
Fight forever, clap, 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 clap. Fight forever. Ugh.
Yeah, so I mean, you can say what you will about WWE, but people don't like Roman Reigns, whether it's for their own personal reasons or whether it's because he's a heel. But there's something to be said about having a great heel and Britt Baker, them trying to push her as this character. Like, she insults the fans, they cheer for her. It's The Rock. Like, you can't once you've hit a certain pinnacle of your heel face tweener mode, there's not any coming back. Like, she was over as soon as they put her with Tony Schiavone in the fans' eyes, and I don't know that there's any going back from that. Like, she would have to murder someone. Like, she'd have to kill Rio, and, well, I don't even know if that would do it. It was someone that people AEW, she would have to kill Thunder Rosa and end her career or something to become a heel right now. Like, that's where we're at with Britt Baker. She's super over. Just run with it and stop trying to. She doesn't need a bodyguard. It's not going to work. But if you're going to do it, at least make it funny and bring in Aja Kong. That'd be fucking pretty funny.
Yeah, I like all those ideas. I like Awesome Kong too, just like Aja Kong, they wouldn't really listen to her, but she would like try to bitch at him, and they would just give her a side eye, and she'd be like, "Okay, never mind." Reva, go yell at her.
I mean, the thing about having a bodyguard is you eventually want that match, and I don't know that Awesome Kong is ever going to be able to wrestle again, unfortunately. So at least with Aja, you could maybe get the match. Or someone like Jordan Grace, you could definitely get the match, which would be a fucking great match.
Okay, so the last person that made mention that they're going to be coming in next week, pissed off at Lance Archer for hurting him, and one of the best heel fucking mic people, Dan Lambert. I just love it. It's very much like a Pat McAfee thing. He is known for, breeding some of the best fucking fighters in UFC, but he loves pro wrestling. And, just saying that he's going to show up next week with someone to, I don't know if it's going to challenge or just get in the face of Lance Archer, but I have no idea who the fuck it's going to be. His only person that he represented in both MMA and wrestling was Bobby Lashley. And, well, I don't expect Jorge Masvidal or Nunez to be there because they watched him get his ass kicked beforehand. So which person really makes sense that has a little bit of that would make sense for a wrestling situation? I love Dustin Poirier, but I don't expect him to fucking be entertaining. Maybe Tyron Woodley. I'm just looking through the guys. Robbie Lawler, Andre Arlovsky. Maybe it's someone that we're not even thinking of. Maybe it's going to be Moose, even though they used to have a rivalry. But Dan Lambert's bringing someone, and we're probably going to have a face-to-face next week with the New Japan U.S. champion, Lance Archer. Do you have any ideas of who this could be?
Who's that guy at the last pay-per-view that was drinking out of a shoe? Tuivasa?
Shoe Man.
Yeah, bring him. No, I have no idea. Moose would make sense, but he's gonna lose to Lance Archer, and he just caught a couple losses, right, on Impact. He just lost to Kenny Omega. Do you want to do that if you're Impact? I don't know.
Maybe Nunez gets in there and just kicks the shit out of Lance Archer.
Who is that guy that was with WWE for like a hot second?
Oh, god dang it. Why can't I remember? We talked about this last time. Did the same thing.
It's Fedor.
Oh. No, you said Fedor, and I was like, Fedor Emelianenko. Cain Velasquez.
Oh, there you go.
That's an interesting. I'm trying to think of like someone that's actually. I don't think it's a part of his camp, just because some of these guys are some of the biggest names in UFC. I don't expect them to be a part of this. Maybe Junior Dos Santos, but I don't think of him as like get him behind the mic. Yeah. I guess if you have Dan Lambert, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and does it have to be part of his camp? Could it just be
no?
Because they're just going to be like they're MMA guys, so MMA.
You know who I wish it would be? Someone that almost got started in pro wrestling 5 years ago, but it just fell through. Chael Sonnen. That
would be great. Yeah, I would be down for Chael or Cain Velasquez makes a lot of sense just because of the AAA connection.
Yep. I don't think it's going to be Shamrock.
It's Frank Shamrock. They're just going to cut promo.
What about Dan the Beast Severn comes out of retirement?
It's GSP. This is what's Bones
GSP
Jones
also huge pro wrestling fan. Grew up watching it.
GSP would be great if he was with like if you put GSP, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn in the tag team.
How about you get Oh yeah, the French Canadians. No, you get Bret Hart to come out. He goes, "Hey, I got a new fighter. For this place in AEW. So I'm gonna introduce him now. He's apparently was a fan of mine, fan of his. I think you guys might know him. His name is George St. Pierre." And then the people start going crazy and sorry, Bret comes off kind of monotone a lot of times. But.
I loved that Bret Hart documentary, but now every time you start doing the Bret Hart thing, I can only think about a bear licking Bret Hart's feet and the kiss my foot
just put
match.
honey on them. Just put honey on them, and you just let it drip down to the bear's mouth, and he licks my feet. And, so we did it. My dad would take a spatula and get rid of cat shit, and then use it for the grill.
Just such a weird fucking story because like he's like we do that so that we didn't have to take a bath, and you're just like, does your mom only look at your feet to see if you're clean? Like it's such a weird. I want to ask Bret about this. Can we get him on the show? So I only want to talk about the bear. I don't want to talk about the rest of his wrestling career. I just want to know about the bear that lived under his porch and like what kind of life that bear had. What was his win-loss record in the ring? Can we just interview the bear is what I'm saying.
I'm down. We'll interview the bear. But yeah, that was all there's some mystery people. I think these are all going to be either special guests or like one-offs or something like that. But interesting. They're throwing this shit out there. Do you want to talk about the main event and go home, or is there anything else from Dynamite that you want to go over?
No, we just talk about the main event and go home. I will say that this was a really good show. I liked it better than NXT, and AEW's been on a bit of a run as far as quality of show. This was a fun show.
This show was fun, but I will say that the one last week I thought was fucking phenomenal. So that's maybe, and I think the ending kind of just made me roll my eyes a bit. So, but I did have a lot of fun with this. I still don't know. I guess we could talk about this too. Who the fuck Kenny's going against? If they're going to try to push in one of these names that are signed to the company that are coming in, like a Daniel Bryan or CM Punk, to make it a bigger marquee, or if it's going to be Adam Page, or if it's going to be Christian. So it's fucking up in the air with that. I know, like all of us know, Mega Championship is on the line against Andrade in about 2 weeks. At the end of that month, he has the Impact Championship on the line. So I don't know. It's crazy.
I mean, hopefully it's just against Hangman. That would be my guess. If they're bringing in Punk, I'm assuming they're going to try to I don't know. Maybe it is Punk. Who the hell? But then Punk has to win the title right off the rip. Is that what you want to do?
No, that's actually going to make me not like him.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that it's going to be against Hangman. But who knows? I mean, he could drop the title against Andrade and then wrestle Andrade at all out or whatever.
I was actually hoping that Christian was going to build up some more stuff with Jungle Boy and then maybe get pissed off at him and fuck him over and they would have had a match. Because I like Christian more as a heel. I thought they were going that direction. Doesn't seem like it.
Do you know how pissed the AEW fans would be if he beats Kenny Omega for the title? That might be a good
better
call,
not happen.
Dane. If Christian Cage wins the AEW championship, if that's the first title to fall via Christian Cage, that would get him some fucking heat for sure.
Yeah, maybe just keep him heel against Jungle Boy. No title involved. I don't know. But yeah, let's talk about this Malachi Black Cody thing. I liked Malachi's look, and I told you it reminded me in a similarity to Muda, how he had those gowns with the mask, very much Japanese culture and mythology. Well, you have a similar aspect in a way because, you know, Alistair, Malachi, whatever the fuck you want to call him, he's from the Netherlands, so they've got that Celtic but also pagan concept, and he had like, I don't know what the fuck was it, a skull with antlers and shit. Looked cool as hell. Production-wise, kind of let down. I don't know why you just had a side shot for him coming down like that. I would have a lot more close-ups. Maybe I'm just more akin to how good his entrance was in WWE. I'm sure they'll work on that. But this match was like, what, 7 fucking minutes? Like, Cody got his ass kicked, Black Mass, done. That table spot was really awesome, where Alistair gave him, it's going to be hard for me not to say Alistair, gave him the high knee while he was on top of the top ropes, and he went back in the timekeeper's table. Pretty good sequence. Barely got in the ring. Then get up, Black Mass, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And, you know, Malachi goes back in the back. Cody's all emotional, and Tony has to run down there, get an interview with him, and it's where I was talking about, like, Cody's, like, you know, talking about wrestling and how there's been rumors about him and the EVPs, but he loves those guys because they did something and building up all this. And then he starts taking off one of his boots, signifying that he's going to retire. Now that's been, you know, less and less. Now it's like the fucking, like the X. It's like now you don't know if it's real or not anymore because that's just how it is. But anyways, before he could do that, there was a crutch that they gave him. He got up by himself because he's Cody. And Malachi takes the crutch, bashes it over his back, and we go off the air. And we all know Cody's, a lot of us at least, know that he's going to finish up filming his